Hello and welcome to Business Today. I'm Steve Lai. Now we're going to start with China because that is where French President Emmanuel Macron is meeting with President Xi Jinping. Trade is high on the agenda, with President Macron advocating on behalf of the EU for stronger economic cooperation. The 27-nation bloc runs a massive trade deficit with China, over 300 billion euros, with Macron hoping to increase EU access to Chinese markets. Joining me to discuss this further is Bonne, Glaser, Managing Director of the Indo-Pacific Program at the German Marshall Fund. Bonne, great to get your thoughts on this today. For you, what did the two leaders want to get from each other from this meeting?
Well, I think, as you say, President Macron wants more market access. He wants to have more balanced trade, not just, of course, for France, but for the EU. Macron is also looking for more Chinese investment. He is bringing, I believe, nearly 40 CEOs with him. So he wants to strike some deals. There are reports that the Chinese might buy, for example, 100 or even as many as 200 Airbus aircraft. So there will be some potential immediate deliverables that Macron will like to get, but longer term, he wants to have more balanced trade with China. For Xi Jinping, I think that he would like President Macron to talk about strategic autonomy and closer China-EU ties, and maybe even hint that EU is moving a little bit away from the United States and willing to have a better relationship with China. So I think that Beijing has tried to divide the United States from its allies for many years, and that will continue to be Xi Jinping's goal.
Yeah, it presents sort of a curious time for Macron to be there, I suppose, alluding to what you were saying with the Europe and its relationship with the United States, and China with its relationship with the United States. But there is that awkward factor of Ukraine and that war as well that sort of adds another dynamic to this relationship.
Yes, I think that Ukraine is going to be very high on Macron's agenda. The Chinese are obviously selling a lot of components and providing assistance to Russia. Russia's defense industry would not be able to produce the weapons that are enabling them to prosecute the war without Chinese help. And so China does have leverage. But Xi Jinping has been unwilling to use that leverage with Russian President Vladimir Putin. So this is going to be yet another effort by the French president, and of course many other leaders in Europe as well, have taken that message to Xi Jinping and said, please call an end to this war, use your leverage, put pressure on Putin, convince him that a ceasefire is in his interests. And so I think Macron is going to go at it again. But I'm rather pessimistic. I think that China will continue to position itself as neutral and say that this is not China's war. It's not, and it's up to Russia.
Yeah, and it has always maintained that it is neutral in the conflict and denied that it helps or supports the war directly. What leverage does French President Emmanuel Macron have when it comes to this issue?
Well, I think that this issue has really been front and center in EU-China relations now for several years, and the EU is probably not going to have any fundamental improvement in its relations with China, even if some of these trade issues are addressed, which I think they will probably not be, because the Chinese are continuing to develop their own manufacturing. They don't admit that they have overcapacity, so I don't think we'll see quick solutions. But even if some of these trade problems are addressed, Europe is seized with this issue, and understandably so. This war has gone on too long. And it is in China's power to do something about it, not solve the war, but begin a conversation with Putin about the need to try to bring this war to a close.
Bonnie, always great to get your thoughts. Bonne Glaser, the Managing Director at the Indo-Pacific Program at the German Marshall Fund. US